Hey Psych students, welcome back. Today we are going to be looking particularly here at Module 11, and you're going to be making brain structures in class today. So these are the learning targets that will be addressed, describing the components of the brainstem and summarizing the functions of the brainstem, the thalamus, the reticular formation, and the cerebellum. You're also going to be talking about the limbic system and how it syncs and networks with the older brain structures, and you are going to be defining those and applying examples to those structures as well. So when we look at the brainstem, this image is in your book here. It's the oldest and most basic part of the brain, located where the spinal cord swells, and so it consists of these particular structures here. The medulla, okay, which controls life-supporting functions like the heartbeat, swallowing, circulation, breathing. You have the pons located right here, okay, just above the medulla, and this is going to coordinate movements on the left and right side of the body. Then you have the reticular formation, which is going to be this nerve network that lies inside of the brainstem. And then you have the thalamus up here at the top, kind of like a little bulb right there at the top, okay? And this structure is kind of like London Heathrow, right? In which you have all the incoming senses, all the incoming information happening right there in this region of the brain. And it's going to disperse messages to higher and lower regions of the brain for functioning. So this is your brainstem. And then you have your limbic system, okay? And the structure of the limbic system, well, the purpose of the limbic system is to regulate memory, aggression, emotion like fear, excitement, hunger, thirst, sexual behavior. All of those things are going to come from the limbic system. It's this ring-like structure that's around the thalamus and kind of on top of the brainstem in a sense. And so this consists of the amygdala, the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, and you also have the cerebellum, which kind of sits back here. It's also known as the little brain. And this is going to function for balance and coordination, and also types of procedural memories. And then you have, of course, the cerebral cortex out here on the outer linings, where you have the right hemisphere and the left hemisphere that focuses on your executive functions, where you have all these association areas, which we'll talk about that next class. But today you're going to be making this in or individually. Generally we do this in groups, but today you're going to be doing this individually. Now, when it comes to the Play-doh activity and how you guys are going to go about this, I have posted the procedures outlined on the worksheet titled Play-doh Brain Activity in PowerSchool Learning, and you'll also see it on the Google Doc. Okay, so you can find it in either one of those places, and that's going to give you a step-by-step guide of how to go through making this module, as well as answering questions as you're building it, right? Because when you're building these, that's great that you can make a piece of Play-doh, but I want to make sure you know what these things on this Play-doh are. Okay, so you do need to answer the questions as well, kind of as you're going along. If you would prefer, you can go back and answer the questions later, okay? And then after you've built this brainstem and this midbrain, you need to label every single structure. So go back and you can make little flags like this, okay, out of a toothpick, and just stick it in there as I have done on my brainstem, okay, with my thalamus. Right, and I want you to do that for every single structure. Even these little structures, like the hypothalamus and pituitary gland, they're going to be a little more difficult to fit a flag on there, but I want you to label it in some way. Okay? After you do this, after you've labeled everything, you're going to record your short video explanation of all of these brain structures and what they do, and you're going to apply a unique example. So this is like kind of writing your own FRQ in a sense. I'm giving you all of these brain structures and you're writing an FRQ. You're just verbally explaining the FRQ to me, your response, okay? So you have to apply every single structure, including the cerebral cortex. All right, and I've provided an example, kind of what I'm looking for on the Google document of the worksheet. Okay. After you do this, you're going to take your video and upload it onto Flipgrid just after you finish everything, and then you'll submit your worksheet on PowerSchool. Okay. Everybody needs to submit a worksheet. Everybody needs to make a Flipgrid video. Everybody needs to have their own unique example. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. All right. I'll see you guys later. All right, so here are the parts of the brain stem and the limbic system that you're going to be assembling. We have our brain stem, and within that we have our medulla, we have our thalamus, we have our hypothalamus, we have our cerebral cortex, and as you can see here, I've made this indentation for the lateral fissure. We've got the pons here. We have the nerve fiber. This is going to sit somewhere along here. Okay, and this is our reticular formation. As you can see, it has that nerve-like structure. And then we have the cerebellum, which is the little brain. Okay, again, you can see the parallel lines that I put on it to give it that specific texture. This is the pituitary gland. This is going to be your master gland for the endocrine system. Make sure you know the endocrine system. And then here we have the hippocampus. The hippocampus is going to sit just on top of the brainstem, and then you're going to kind of stretch these stems down here a bit slowly, and you're going to take the amygdala regarding our emotions and kind of put that on there. Okay, and then lastly up here we have the corpus callosum or corpus callosum, and this is going to kind of be pushed in here with toothpicks. That is going to be responsible for communicating information back and forth from our right and left hemispheres. All right, so after you finish this, you can then apply your example of how all of these structures work together. Okay, see you guys later.